Is King Charles blessing Bitcoin? We got some European guests on. We're going to break this down. This is Around the Blockchain. All right, we got a great show. We got a U.S. state potentially buying Bitcoin. We have the UK government opening up the highway for Bitcoin adoption. And of course, we're going to talk about a big old banker joining your favorite stablecoin, or maybe least favorite. But please hit that like button because we got some great guests on today. We're going to go ahead and get right into it. On the top left, we have Crypto Lifer. He's got the vest on today. And you know what? When it comes to trading, he is the best. So that's why he wears the vest. He's out trading the rest. Crypto Lifer, was that too much or should I say less?
I love you, DZ. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
All right. Also on, hey, he's going to give us some insight into the UK. He might be there right now. I don't know. It is Firoz Khan. Firoz, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, DZ. Great to be back on the show.
All right. Also going to give us some insight, at least from the Irish side. It is Marta from the Martaverse. Marta, how are you doing today?
Great to be back as well.
And it's Ireland, correct? I said that right? Okay.
Correct.
Just want to make sure it's not Scotland. We did have you in the red square, so I wasn't sure. And then last but not least, he's the self-proclaimed F-boy, but he is anything but, guys. He is Tom Crown. When we have a Fed official talking about CPI prints, go to his stream because he's got a really fun party going on every single time. If you want to know what your pal means, you got to make sure you follow this stuff. But guys, we're going to talk about North Carolina potentially buying crypto. That's our first topic of today. And they just passed a bill that might allow eventually to exist within their state treasury balance. It's not a small amount. I'm going to tell you that amount. The amount might actually shock you. But this is government and there's going to be some red tape. So first, before they just start market buying Bitcoin first, they got to look into the acquisition, the storage, the utilization of investments involving metal bullion as well as cryptocurrencies. But they do say, they released a statement saying they see alternative investments as a way to hedge against inflation. This is a U.S. state talking about inflation. A hedge against inflation, reduce overall portfolio volatility, and increase returns over time. The first version of the bill only included precious metals. I think it was the Republicans in the House added cryptocurrencies there. And I said the Treasury balance, it might shock you. I looked it up. This is as of, AI accordingly. By the 30th of this month, their Treasury balance is $7.7 billion. This is just North Carolina. This isn't the federal government. Just that one state got $7.7 billion in the sidelines there. Now, I'm going to go to you first, Tom Crown, because you're always looking at these government officials. You've seen how the Fed acts about it, but then you've seen, different states, whether it's Florida Governor DeSantis, whether it's Wyoming Senator Lummis, some of these states, they're a little bit more favorable towards our views with crypto. But with this recent North Carolina, this bill that it hasn't passed yet, do you think that this is actually some real substance here? I mean, are we going to see some big, fat, juicy market buys later? Or is this just all fluff and theater?
Well, unfortunately, it's not going to be market buys. As sweet as that would be, we know they're always going to transact over OTC. They're going to get it off exchange. So we don't have the dream of really, at the moment, states market buying in. But this is just one step, right? This is inevitable. If you've been looking at Bitcoin long term, at one point it was the government will never pay attention to this. Now states have their own treasury, the federal government, huge holder of Bitcoin. We kind of try to angle this as a negative, and I can understand why people might be afraid of it, but this has always been the plan, and they're just falling into the plan. I think it's great. I think other states will join on, and eventually I think we'll have every state with some kind of balance. I mean,
okay. If you had to choose one or two states to be next, what one or two states would you choose?
Let's go California and Texas. Boom.
Okay. Ooh, California. All right. I don't know if Gavin Newsom's going to like that. It might hurt his chances to, maybe take the stage next year. We'll see. All right. Now, Firoz, what are the odds that this will, this isn't going to be a fast process? They're not buying it next month. They're not, 4th of July, we buy it. This might take years. So my question is, what are the odds that this is going to take the amount of time right at the next bull run top, right when retail wants it the most? What are the odds they're going to buy the top in a couple years?
Hey, I could do with a bit of exit liquidity if they want to buy it at the top. But no, I mean, in all honesty, no, but in all honesty, I think the odds are low. The other thing that I might need to fact check me is that they're due to come to some sort of conclusion by December this year, if that's the case. So it may well be that they're already starting to buy. I was thinking about this earlier, right? And one of the things is, we see a lot in the media that, the government's against this and the government's against that, et cetera, et cetera. And I think some also are of the opinion, based on media, based on retail, that they don't know a lot about digital currencies, that it's us, the experts, the retail that are buying it that know more than the government. But again, they're kind of surrounded by experts at the end of the day, very well versed in monetary policy and all of those things. And so therefore it would be foolish to think that they're not really getting already in early. I think that they are getting in early. And you know what? The other thing is, DZ, I'll say it doesn't matter if they buy the top, because if you have a long-term vision on Bitcoin, it doesn't matter, because at some point you're going to be a winner regardless. You only need to look back, for those who bought in 2021. Sure, and I remember streaming last year telling people, looking at the DCA of Bitcoin, saying, yeah, you are down. You're down about 20% right now. But you know what? As the years go on, even if you bought the top in 2021, then eventually you're going to end up in the green. So it's the same thing. Long-term vision, Bitcoin's king. It's a revolution. Join it.
All right, and you brought up experts. You do trust the experts, Rose? I just want to get you on the record. I trust the. I'm just kidding. All right, Marta. I want to ask you, how does this story end? Do you see more? In the U.S., we have our 50 states. UK, you have these different. Is it provinces? Am I saying that correctly? You have Ireland. You have Wales. Do you see? Where does this story end? Is it going to be large federal governments? Large state actors, maybe even the EU is against it. But then you have the smaller entities, the smaller states. Are they going to buck the trend and then, defy some of these central banks? Do you see Ireland potentially buying this in the future and maybe other states following suit?
Well, I believe anyway, what we're seeing already in the news, the hints are there. But touching on the states and what way you guys actually operate, I'm aware of pretty nearly every state have their own rules. So I do believe that this is what's going to happen all across the board, whether it's in the United States or in Europe, where, custody of Bitcoin, having their own balance sheets, Federal Reserve has their hold of gold. So why won't states not want to have, the hand in their stake as well? So they'll put Bitcoin on their balance sheet. But the thing is, how are they going to approach it? It might be different across the nations, across the state, where that you put like different rules, same way you have for gambling or leverage trading, how it's already regulated and actually being stopped here in Europe. UK, at the minute you can't do that. Give out different licenses, maybe owning different laws for owning crypto. So I mean, there's no way out of it in terms of states or countries owning Bitcoin, like just Firoz was talking about. I think they're already buying. It's just a matter of putting their laws on it, and this is definitely happening.
All right, well, definitely going to get more into the third topic where we talk about King Charles. We don't mention Prince Albert, everybody. All right, now, Crypto Lifer, the U.S. government is known to be one of the largest holders, or at least publicly known holders of Bitcoin. They have over 200,000 Bitcoin at the moment. Do you ever see a day where the combined total of the 50 states exceeds what the U.S. government has?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I mean, that would be an awesome thing. I would love to see that. That's why, you just made a good point of how Bitcoin can be decentralized. None of the 50 states could all own a piece of the Federal Reserve. So already you can see how it's a rigged system, right? Because where the money comes from is a big deal. I always talk about people, when you buy one Bitcoin, you own one Bitcoin. That never changes. And you own one of the 21 million, When you buy the dollar, you own one of 7 trillion. Then next week, you own one of 7.5 trillion. And a year later, you're going to own one of 14 trillion. Your risk, your part to whole continues to diminish, and your job doesn't give you a raise, right? So the amount of money you need to live continues to go up. Any state that figured this out early, which I'm super excited to see, is just going to gain an edge. And then the states that don't see this, they're going to fall further back. They're going to have to ask for more. They're going to have to actually go to Congress and beg for money. You're going to see states in a surplus for the first time, hopefully in years, if they adopt the right policies, right? If they decide to look at this. Look at MicroStrategy. Look what it did. I like what Firoz just said. Do the worst thing possible. Buy the top of Bitcoin 4 years ago at $20,000, right? You're still up. You're still up 50% right now on your money. You're up 50%. If you left that money in the dollar, you'd probably be down more than 50% in buying power. So you could have been a complete, not even a crypto lifer, just a dabbler. That could have been a no corner that just kind of leaped in on a whim or a rumor, and Bitcoin still would have kept you afloat and given your value back to giving you your own value and kept your value. So I'm all about everyone here in America works hard, around the world watching the show. We all work super hard. Our value should stay with us through our lives. When you get taxed and also inflated, your money gets inflated. In 10-year period, you end up working 3 of those years for free, basically, and that's unfair. That's not okay. So I like what's going on. And you know what? I would love to see more states owning more than the U.S. And you know what? They keep selling the top anyways. The bottom anyway. So,
Hey, it kind of speaks to their ineptitude there. You brought up 3 years. Well, coincidentally, I'd have to check the exact amount of days, but any Bitcoin bought within, at any time within 3 years, they will be in profit. If you bought the top at 69, it hasn't been 3 years yet. Just be patient. But there has been a chance. Never in Bitcoin's history has someone had to wait more than 3 years. All right, I do want to show a picture of Patrick McHenry. I believe he is one of the people instrumental in getting this done in North Carolina. I'm from North Carolina, spent 20 years there, so just want to give him a quick shout out. If I lived in his district, I'd vote for him, that's for sure. All right, well, let's move forward, talk about big banks and, a little stable coin called USDC. You may have heard about them. There's about 26 billion of them in circulation, but they just appointed a former Goldman Sachs executive. We're talking about C-suite executive. We're not talking about VP or, this guy had his own desk with the window. No, we're talking about C-suite executive here. You know who also worked at Goldman Sachs? Gary Gensler, by the way. But Jeremy Allaire, he's the CEO, co-founder of Circle. He said in a statement, strong risk management is essential to Circle's efforts to make USDC the safest, most trusted, and transparent digital dollar on the internet. And it should be noted, that's not all. They also hired the former CFTC chair, Heath Tarbert, as well as chief legal officer and head of corporate affairs. Like I said, about 26 billion of these things floating around. Now, crypto lifer, I'm going to come back to you. Goldman Gary, we got Goldman Sachs C-suite executive here. We have CFTC commissioners here. Are we seeing Circle or USDC become the de facto US digital dollar?
Man, it looks like it's going to have the inside, it's going to be an inside job for sure. The right people are going to be able to shake the right hands. But that's what you need to do. But then you look at Tether. What Tether's doing is they may actually go some way of that route and hire the right people, but Tether is just buying up more and more Bitcoin mining facilities, right? Tether's invest in other assets to back up what they have. I think that's also a great alternative. I like Circle, but something tells me it is kind of, I use it less than I use Tether for whatever reason. I used to never use Tether, so it's been a long kind of back and forth with me with stablecoins. But, Goldman Sachs is basically the honey hive, right? Of where all these financial demons come from. It's kind of sad, right? Is it going to be the same thing? Is crypto going to turn into the back room of like these financial institutions are, and we're all going to have to play by their rules? It seems like everyone gets excited about the BlackRock ETF, and there's it's up and down, right? Some people are like, this is the best thing for crypto, and other people are like, I don't know, like these are the same people we're trying to get away from. The good thing is that you can always mine Bitcoin. There can always be a new node. Other people can get involved, and more than one country will hopefully have, divvy up the hash power. We don't have like all in one. Like China had a lot, but it got dispersed. We're starting to get more in Texas. So as it continues to grow, you see there's more and more countries involved in it. So even though it is, getting the big institutions and the financial professionals involved in the back end, I believe there's still going to be a decentralized facet to Bitcoin. You also have people that own a lot of it that aren't part of that club, like MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor. So it puts me unawares, but at the same time, it's good. We need to see the people that are part of the big regulatory framework of America already getting into crypto. They're the ones who can actually make this become legal and really get the regulations going. So
at the end of the day, once it's got the green light, we're going to see a lot of green candles there. Now, Tom, I got another American on here, so I'm going to ask you an American-based question here. Who is eventually going to be in control of, I think we zoom out far enough, there will be a CBDC. We're not going to be in flying cars with jetpacks, pulling paper wads out of our pocket. It's just not going to happen, right? Let's be real here. So
not with that attitude, man.
Who who is going to be in control of the CBDC? Is it going to be strictly U.S. Treasury and Secret Service agents, or do you see a partnership between private companies and our public institutions?
Yeah, that's a great question. I wish I had the answer to that. I mean, it's going to be the SEC.
Wait, you can't predict the future and know exactly what's going to happen. Well, Tom, I
and
guess we'll have to settle
that,
for your best guess.
That government knowledge either, even though I had a political science degree.
Use it.
I don't know who
it's
even
not
would
useless.
have that, right?
It's worth more than toilet paper, Tom. I swear to you, it is.
I'm a bidet man. It's worthless.
All right. Well, I mean, if you had to guess, I mean, is it going to be a partnership here? I mean, we're seeing a lot of CFTC officials. We're seeing, the politically connected giant banks are hiring a lot of these people. Is it going to be a circle partnership or maybe even someone else? Or is this just going to be, no, we're in control. We are the only ones who can print money.
Well, I think the government's definitely, the U.S. government's going to take their own version of this, right? So there's going to be a part that falls under, the government's wing, but I don't think they're really going to get rid of USDC or USDT, because if they could, I think they already would have. We see Tether FUD every year. It's like clockwork. Tether is insolvent, blah, blah. It never happens. Like if Tether had cracks in the dam, they would have been exploited by now. I don't think that they're really going to go after them. They're going to find a way to profit from it, whether, it's taxes or whatnot. I think there's going to be both, because that seems to be the playing field that right now they're creating and kind of allowing to exist.
All right. Well, Marta, I want to ask you about, some of these recent hires. We see him, hiring some of these former officials, Goldman, Gary, some of his peers potentially here. Are they hiring for political favor, or are they hiring for their experience and knowing how to navigate these roads? Or, Marta, is there really no difference?
I feel, guys, it's plain obvious. It's for both. It's for, as we called it earlier on, for fluff and theater. There is definitely some substance there, optics as well. I think, there is definitely a door there for, they're gearing up for maybe lobbying politicians to allow to operate stable coins. I think we also have to think about people outside of crypto. And what kind of comes to mind is we know, or we can assume and we can debate here what's going on, but in the outside world, who has more credibility, if not banks, if not politicians, if not the people that we people elect, right? So seeing this happening, I feel guys, they're doing it for both, because they want to gain that credibility in the eyes of the outside world, but it is also a backway door for something.
All right. So the fiscally overly responsible people, hey, they're all about it. And the lemmings, hey, it's the right people are in the right spot now. All right. Well, Firoz, we're talking about Tommy. He said, hey, if they could take out some of these companies, they will. Well, I want to ask you about, maybe not the government against one of these stablecoins. I want to ask you, stablecoin versus stablecoin. Are we seeing a war between Tether and Circle, or has that war been battling for ages?
No, look, I mean, I think that war's been battling for ages. I think what it really comes down to, and it kind of comes back down to, freedom of choice. I don't want to be told that I have to deal in, if I'm dabbling with crypto, that I have to use a particular stablecoin to do it. But one of the things that we will see more and more of is that the government ultimately is going to be leaning more towards the side where there's more transparency with a stablecoin, where they know exactly what the reserves are, what's backing it, because that's what's really giving favor at the end of the day. They don't want to be, putting their hands down and saying, yep, go with this one for whatever reason, unless they have a bit of proof behind it, right? So I think that's where it's really going towards. It's who's going to provide the most proof, who's going to show it, hey, we're fairly clean, our books are okay. And so that's what you're going to see. It's going to be less of a war between USDC and Tether themselves. It just depends who wants to be more upfront about it. And the thing that I don't really like about that is that, again, it's the government fundamentally choosing which way you should be going, when really it should be a free market. We should be letting us choose what we want to use as our preference of stablecoin.
All right. Well, speaking of preference, well, we have Firoz's preferred king here. I don't want to put words in your mouth. We have King Charles. Let's throw up that picture of King Charles. If you are wondering, yes, his parents were third cousins. That is real. Queen Victoria is their common great great grandmother, I believe. Fact check me, Marta Feroz, right? Anyways, they can't say anything. I mean, pull up the picture again. I'm sorry, my British viewers. Look, we're not making fun of. We don't want to like look shame here, but his parents are related. Anyways, I'm sorry. We love our Europeans. We love our British residents. And, we love God save the king and queen here. All right. Well, the Financial Services and Market Act of UK, let me say that one more time. Financial Services and Markets Act of 2023. Let me get that right. They received the royal assent from King Charles. Think of it as the UK stamp of approval here. According to His Majesty's Treasury, I just like saying things like that. This act will foster an open, sustainable, and technologically advanced financial services industry. What the heck does that even mean? Actually will enable crypto regulation to support adoption. It's supposed to provide sandboxes for them to use, financial services and have some institutions. So create basically closed source betas with cryptocurrencies, blockchain technology. We can't say crypto here. And with these changes, hey, they're hoping to boost their competitive edge on the global scale. They want to get some of these companies that are leaving America, get some of these companies maybe forced out of China. They want to be the new Singapore. They want to be the new Dubai here. But I mean, Feroz, can they be the next Singapore? Can they be the next Dubai? I mean, is there too much red tape here for that to ever happen? What's really going on here? Break it down. You're from the UK. I'm just some dumb American. Well, what is this? What does even an assent mean? Can you help us just understand this?
Yeah, no, of course. Lucky for you, I was having tea with the king earlier today, and I said,
I knew it.
What on earth is an assent? I've been here almost 40 years in this country. What does it actually mean? And he said, I don't know nothing about Bitcoin. I just put a rubber stamp on what the government decides to choose. So if I really break it down, all a royal assent is actually, it is like you said earlier, it's the final stage. The government, or let's just say in this case, you know what? Let me break it down and make it more simple. Let's just say a group of us are creating our own game, right? And then we go and make our own rules. And then within that group, we all choose between us what the rules actually are. And then we go to our parents, who are the monarchy at this point, and say, hey, this is what we decided. Is it okay that we play this game? And he says, cool, go ahead and do it. And then it just becomes law. That's it. It's as simple as that. I personally think it's more of a rubber seal of approval. But going back to going back to what you said earlier, in all honesty, one of the things that our Prime Minister has been saying is that he does want to be seen as the digital hub within the UK. And I think one of the things that this bill will do, which unfortunately is lacking in the US, is that it does provide clarity. It does provide a bit of regulation. It does provide a framework. And when you have those key elements, it does mean that those who want to do business within the UK, those who want to operate out of the UK, and again, we are a strong economical country overall, you're allowed to do that now. You have those rules, you have those regulations without fear of somebody stepping in and shutting your project down, or somebody stepping in and having you appear in front of a court for, whatever reason it may well be, because, hey, I've been following these guidelines that the king has put his stamp of approval on, which the government has written into law as well. So again, I think it's a good thing. I think it's something that we are all trying to strive towards. I mean, MICA is another example within Europe. We have that regulatory framework there. The UK wants to go a bit more granular so we can, bring in some of that talent as well at the same time. Since Brexit, I don't think we've been doing exactly wonderfully great anyway. So yeah, that's my take.
All right. Well, Marta, let's get another take here, from the UK. Well, you're in Ireland here. So, I mean, they're envisioning a gold rush here. We're going to have, all these companies coming over the borders. We're going to attract all this talent. All these engineers are going to move in there. Well, my knowledge of Ireland basically begins and ends with Jameson whiskey. So I'm not sure. I mean, can that happen? I mean, is the hub there? Is the framework there where this might be a potential digital gold rush?
First of all, that is all you need to know about Ireland. Maybe Guinness.
Okay. Okay. Irish car bomb's okay.
Whiskey, Jameson is top notch. But in terms of gold rush, first, I mean, they would have to take a lot of steps forward after taking so many steps back. They have clamped down on leverage trading. So many banks are limiting access to exchanges paying in. They're blocking your account. So I feel, certainly no gold rush here, even with this stamp of approval. And guys, just be clear, Ireland is not England. I am in the Republic. There is Northern Ireland that is partially belonging to England. So there are two different countries. So I'm speaking from not English standpoint, but maybe more of a European standpoint, and seeing basically what's going on around this side of the pond. Look at the taxes in Dubai. Look at the freedom, how easy it is to spend crypto, buy crypto. There's no tax. There'll be no gold rush happening here on this side of the pond for a long time. Netherlands are Binance has gone from there. I think another country, France, was it, that they also are leaving? Unfortunately, we're miles away from it. Whatever they're doing, guys, I actually have to say this as well. We have to start asking ourselves a lot of questions here. Don't you feel it's a bit odd that all of a sudden everyone is nearly singing from the same hymn sheet? Right, crypto is good, right? But a minute ago, it was so bad that we needed to forbid it everywhere. We needed to regulate it because everything is security. All of a sudden, the king puts the stamp on and it's all good and well.
Well, yeah. It's almost like maybe they have those security guard lines, or, they got the rails up now. Maybe now they know how to control it. So, yeah, green light. Just make sure, you never deviate out of the lane. Don't you buy that Monero. All right, now, Tom Crown, never buy that Monero. Oh, we do have a super chat from the UK, I believe. I'm looking at the currency symbol. Paul Howard, any interest in Caspa this week? Well, from like 2 or 3 super chats, yes. Maybe I'll DCA into it tomorrow. Maybe. No guarantees here. All right, well, I brought up control. I brought up, it's kind of the direction I think this may be heading. And Lifer, I want to ask, I know I said Tom, but you know what? Sorry, Sam. We're sticking with Tom because we have him on the camera already. I wasn't looking.
That's right.
Tom, what are your views on this? Is this just going to be more control? And I mean, are they just laying down the framework for a censored and very permissioned CBDC?
Yeah, I mean, if we get one, which seems inevitable now, it's going to be very censored and controlled. Like, I think people confuse cryptocurrency with decentralized a lot. Like, they very much are not the same thing. You can have very centralized chains. You can have very decentralized chains. The government's going to move with their own, chain, and they're going to lay, obviously, the groundwork for that before it happens. I think the pipe dream of them living on a decentralized chain, with fairness everywhere, isn't really something that even makes sense to what we know about government, period. Why would they give up all control? It doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, I don't see it happening. Wait a minute. Can we pull up that photo one more time? Do we have it? He don't want to give up control. Look at him. Look, he does not
Definitely
want to give up control.
Never.
Folks. Guys, he's definitely not reptilian. His parents are related. Third cousin, though. That's probably fine. We do have a troll comment from AT. Ireland. That's a part of Scotland, right? All right, Crypto Lifer, final question here. I just want to rile up the Ireland. We have nations, potentially going to be buying some. We have U.S. government. They own 200K. Maybe His Majesty's Treasury might some. North Carolina potentially going to be buying some. This is maybe a esoteric question, but can Bitcoin be the people's money if the majority is held by nation states and governments?
I keep hearing Tommy like
that was his protein shake.
I know, he just finished off that.
It's muted, bro. It's impossible.
Your
it's
mother
muted.
Tell you not to make that sound. But no, I mean, I see what you're saying. That's I remember watching Ben one day on on your guys' show on BitBoy, and he was saying, decentralization is still we're not 100% there. Like even these autonomous organizations that are, these DAOs are great, yet they can never get them to agree on one thing to really actually move forward. So like we all have this vision that everyone's going to be decentralized, that it's all going to be, but like you kind of eventually need someone to take the horse by the reins and direct where we're going. A decentralized idea is great, but like it's like pushing a ship into the ocean and just like letting it aimlessly move around. Like eventually someone has to be the spearhead of the movement. Someone has to take the vibrational energy of that push and be like, you know what, I'm going to be the leader of this. And then there comes a little bit of control, a little bit of centralization there, because that person's pushing their influence onto wherever the project or the coin is going, right? So we all want this beautiful goal. The idea is to, maybe we won't have 100% decentralization, but every time we break it up, like we knew that the government if we had just one branch, wasn't going to be a good idea. So we made 3 branches, right? Now we have unelected officials. So it kind of defeats the purpose of having 3 branches, because if we can't check that branch because the person wasn't even elected, what's the point of electing other people in the other 2 branches? But anytime you can break up power, it's better for the people in the long run, right? We've looked at history and we looked at every time someone can continue to eat up power, they're eventually going to turn into a tyrant. We don't want that. Cryptocurrency is the first part of money becoming split, right? So we don't have this only one place. Like when I was born, there was no Bitcoin, right? My parents didn't have an option. You know, that's why I go live every day. That's what I'm doing, what I do. Not only, it's fun to make money trading. It's fun to get into the ups and downs of the market. But at the end of the day, this is a world push for a change in the way money has been put on us. Basically, since, the kings and queens have forced people, basically since people, rushed onto the castles back in France and, the revolutions that have gone on in the past. So, the central banks have always found a way to circumvent. They say, forget all the tanks, just give me the power of the pen, and I'll be able to get, basically the whole world back underneath my reign through the monetary system. So anytime we can decentralize is the best. I don't know if we're ever going to get 100% there, but we're definitely doing way better than we used to. And you can't kill the CEO of Bitcoin. You can't pick it outside of the Bitcoin office. Bitcoin will win for that one reason. They couldn't regulate it because they couldn't go after someone and scare them. There's no fear. You can't push fear on Bitcoin holders because we know we have something that's immutable, borderless, and they're going to continue to print the other money. So we're going to win in the long run.
No attacking Bitcoin, but you might be able to melt Hal Finney's frozen head. And does that count, I guess? I don't know. That's all we got time for today, though. And it looks like Crypto Lifer narrowly edged out Firoz. The chat was loving it. Lifer is on fire. Lifer run it up. +1 Crypto Lifer. And all right. Well, UK King will be the last one. Whoa, then a dark prediction at the end. I shouldn't even have read it, but all right, Crypto Lifer, feel free, because it's a queen. It'll be all queens after that. That's what we're saying. We're not saying anything negative like that. Lifer.
I had a harmonica.
Lifer's about
and I thought if I was going to play today, I wanted to play the harmonica real quick.
All right, well, we got a John Popper impression coming very soon. Crypto Lifer, feel free. Leave us with parting thoughts after I read this super chat from Jake. You missed Blockchain Basement, but thanks for the cast dive, Sammy. Caspa people. Lifer, feel free. Take it away.
It's funny. I don't know if it's the Lifers, but because I see some other people that aren't Lifers. I love Caspa, man. The deeper I get into that coin, it's like my number one load up altcoin. I've been just gobbling up as much as possible. So that's my last. I'll use this part to chill Caspa, man. I think it's a great project. I think
FUD it. I got to buy more.
All right. Well, it did a huge run up recently. I think if you can get it below 2 cents, you gobble up as much as you can. Not financial advice. Do whatever makes you happy. And everyone, they're going to continue to crunch us. KuCoin, right? KYC. They're going to do everything to scare you. They're going to try to bottleneck this market. Continue to hodl. Continue to grab. Continue to find ways to put it on a hardware wallet. Caspa can be put on the Tangem wallet. I just got mine last week. So, and that's not a shill. I don't know the company or anything. That's the only wallet you can put Caspa on. But I love you all. Thank you so much for the love. I love the show. I love DZ. I love all the guests here today. Tommy, I love you. And everyone.
Tom, calm down. Are we in a Miami nightclub or is this ATB? We can't tell the difference. That's how good that sounded.
That was a TikTok. You're in it, DZ.
All right, that's all we got. Until next time, please hit that like button.
Slancha, Marta, Slancha. We love Ireland.
Check the description.
Slancha, lads.